Welcome back, CSE 102 class, to the last installment of WD06 research paper. Well, this is the last one here, and this will actually make things fairly easy. We did an overview, we did our formatting, we created our sources or our references up here, and now we're just going to put them in our paper. And I have it set up so that you just have to look for the blue part to put it in. And this will be really quick. So I'll highlight this. Now, sometimes when you highlight in Word, it takes things that you don't want. So I'll have to fix some things here. But I'm just going to basically delete this. I got to put the quote back in because your citation goes after the quote. Just so you know, it goes after the quote, and I'll put a space in here, and it goes before the period. You don't need a space before the period. So this is where this is going. I could even zoom in a little here. So it's going to go after a space after the quote, and then that's where your citation is going to be. Now to insert a citation, that's the Mary Mitchell one. You just go to up here where it says Insert Citation, and I just look for Mary Mitchell, and that's it. And if this shows up in blue for whatever reason, just highlight it and go to your home tab or right click and use this thing and put it in black or something if it came up in blue. That's all you got to do, and that's the way it should show up. It shouldn't show a page number or anything like that right now. So that's all you need there. So that's one. See how easy this is? And then I'm going to scroll down, and here's the download.com. So I'm going to just highlight this. If you highlight and it highlights too much, highlight past it and then go back. Sometimes that's easier, so it doesn't highlight too much. So I'm going to delete that, and this is right where your source is going to go. We are going to need a period. I don't see a period there, so make sure there's going to be a period after it. And you're going to insert citation, and it's going to be the download.com, and put a period after it. And this is what I'm talking about. If it came out in blue, just highlight it and make sure it's black. You can right click and use this little formatting thing here and just make it automatic. That means it's black. Or you could go to the home tab and do that. So that's the second one. And I think there's just two other places. Here's Mary Mitchell one again, because you may be using sources multiple times. So this is another one here. So I'm going to just highlight from here, go past it, come back. I'm going to delete this one, and then I'm going to go Insert Citation, Mary Mitchell. There it is. And I'll put a period after it and a space. Now, good question. MLA, I don't think it needs two spaces after a period. Double check that. Sometimes APA says you could go either way. I never put two spaces after a period because ever since desktop publishing came about, they recommend that you don't need two spaces after a period. That was only for typewriter type, but double check that with your instructor. I do not do it, but it doesn't mean that someone might not tell you to do it. Okay, so now if this is blue, just highlight it. You could highlight over other stuff too. Right click, make sure that it's automatic. And then I think there's one more down here. I think it's at the very end of your paper. Now I put mistakes in here, so I do want you to spell check it. We'll do that. Here's the last source here, and I'll do it right before the period. I'll go past it and then kind of come back. It might take up something else. So I'll just hit delete, and I'll insert my this one here. I'm not sure why it's showing text 16. And it's showing the title. See, here's an issue. That doesn't look right. That should show. Let me check something. Let me go to Manage Resources or Manage Sources, and that was the TextSmith. That was this one, I think. Let me hit Edit because I think I forgot something, and I did. I forgot Corporate Author, and the Corporate Author for this one, I thought we had put in Lance Carr for this one. I thought this was Lance Carr. Maybe I forgot to put it in, but this should be Lance Carr is the author. And for the DIY video editor, and I might have just forgot to put it in, and that's okay. That's why we can edit these things and go back in and do them, because something didn't look right there. So I'll hit OK, and I'll update it, and then I'll close this up, and look at that. It updated that for me, even though it had something different. That's the nice thing about these tools, that if you change the original one, it updates the in-text citation on there. So just by me screwing up something, it showed you how it kind of helps you out. And I do need a period after here, and I do need to also highlight this and put it in black. So again, you could use your home tab and do it that way. So I have all my sources in here now. Now it says here insert page break. So I'm going to highlight over this whole thing, insert a page break. And you should know how to do that. You can go to insert, and they have page break over here, and I'm going to do that, and then it starts a new page here. And this is where I'm going to insert my works cited. The very last thing we're going to have to do here, and on your sheet, this is like number 16 on your on your instructions, generate a works cited. And it's not tricky, but we have to do a little work on this because they don't do it perfectly. So I have to go back to my References tab. I'm going to go to Bibliography, and I'm going to choose works cited. And I'm just going to click on it, and it's going to put it in. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't format it the way it's supposed to be formatted. Don't ask me why, it just doesn't. It actually formats this correctly. It does the hanging indent, it puts it in italic, it puts everything in there, but it changes the font, it changes the formatting, so you just have to change it. So I'm just going to go outside here, highlight all this stuff, and just make sure that it's going to be in Times New Roman. Make sure that it's 12 point, nothing should be any bigger. Why it makes these changes, I have no idea. Make sure that everything's black, and then what are we missing here? That's right, everything should be double spaced. So make sure that everything's double spaced, and it should look like that. And then the last thing, you would have to look at the sample, but this thing should be centered. So just make sure that works cited is centered. This should not be bold. It should not be in caps. It should not be blue. Everything should be black. So everything here looks okay. From what I have right now. So this is the way it should look. Why it doesn't do that automatically, that would make life a lot easier, but it doesn't. But it should start a new page, so we did have to put a page break, and if you look here, here's our page break. If you ever needed to delete a page break, you could highlight it and backspace, but I don't want to, so let me go back and put that in there. I'll insert my page break back in there, and I have an extra return up here, which I don't want, so I'll delete that. And so page 4 should start my works cited, and that's really it. So that's the last thing we had to do. We just had to do some formatting on our works cited, but it put everything in for us the way it should be according to MLA 7th edition. MLA 8th may be a little different. You may have to check some things out here, but everything looks fine. Like I said, if you ever had a problem, you could go back to your references and go to manage sources when you go in here, and it'll update things for you. It should update everything in the biblia. If you changed it, it should update everything. Sometimes it may put that weird formatting back in, but that's all you need to do. And then you just have to save this and turn it in. And just one thing we didn't do, actually, it's not shown on your sheet. I don't know if it's shown somewhere, but you should do a spell check. And just so you know how to do a spell check, you will see things with the red wavy lines. But if you do want to do a spell check, just go up to the top and go to Review, because that's where spell check is, and just go to Spelling and Grammar, and just go through here, and I'm going to ignore my name. And anytime it's telling it to be one word, so I'm going to change that, because that sounds like a good recommendation. And here they want one. I spelled that wrong. And here I didn't capitalize it, so I'll change that. So it tries to find some things for me. I'll ignore TechSmith, because I have that correct. Mose, that should be mouse effects, so I'll change that. And that should be it. Spelling and grammar check are complete. So you always want to do that, and you also want to always have someone proofread your paper, because there's those for and fro things, and from and form, and little things that you mess up that spell check doesn't catch. So make sure you do that too. But make sure you save it. You can upload this paper, and then that way you know how to use some of these tools in Word, and you're all done.